In this lesson, we're going to learn how to do two different things. We're going to learn how to name angles and write congruent statements. Oh, I wish my handwriting was better, you guys. I'm sorry. Okay, and write congruent statements. Okay, so let's start with naming angles. It sounds kind of like a weird lesson title, but I want to just make sure you guys know the details so we can do it correctly in class. Okay, so let's start with this example. You can see there's a lot happening in this diagram. There's a lot of letters, and there's actually like a couple different angles. So let me color code them so we can see what the different names are. So here's one little green angle, and here's a little red angle. And also, well, let's start with those two. So I can't just say angle H. So let's talk about why. So I can't say angle H because you wouldn't know which angle I'm talking about. Am I talking about the green one or the red one? So that doesn't work. So I actually need 3 letters to precisely name the angle. So let me write that down actually clearly. Okay. So you need 3 letters in the right order to precisely name the angle. So let me color code and see if that can make more sense. So my green angle is going to be called angle EHF. So what does that mean? It means I start at point E, I go to H, and then I go to F. So that's how I name that green angle right here. The H has to be in the middle because that's the vertex point of the angle. Oh, wait, let me not use red because I'm going to use red in a second. Sorry. Let me use blue because I won't need blue later. Okay, so H is the vertex point. And that has to go in the middle. So what is this red angle going to be called? The red angle is going to be called FHG. My H is going to be in the middle again, right? Because H is still the vertex point of the angle, but the other letters tell me which sides to use. So why don't you guys copy a few down and practice them? Okay, so this will be example 1. So copy down this diagram and tell me, how would I name angle 4? So which letters could I use to name angle 4? And which letters could I use to name angle 5? So take a minute and see if you can get the angle names in the right order. Hopefully for angle 4, you said FVG. Or the thing that we could change, and I didn't say this earlier, sorry. Or I could also swap the G and the F. So I could have said GVF. The really important thing, which I did say before, is that the V has to be in the middle, right? But these other 2 letters can switch. It will still describe that green angle right here. So angle 5 could be angle GVH or HGV. I'm sorry, HVG. Okay. Why don't you guys let's just try one more. I think this is pretty quick once you get it. Example 2. So try to name angle 3 and angle 4. So hopefully for angle 3, you said BVC or CVB. And for angle 4, you said angle CVD or DVC. So you don't have to write them all, just write one or the other, as long as you have the V in the middle for each one, right? Because that's the vertex. That's the vertex point. That's the middle point in the angles. Okay, I think that's fine. Actually, okay, let's just do one more little example. So this time I want you guys to tell me if I tell you, let's say I tell you angle TWV. Trace out in the diagram which angle is angle TWV. So TWV is this angle right here. So what about angle UWT? So UWT is this angle right here. So I want you to be able to notice if I give you 3 letters to be able to see which angle in the diagram I'm referring to. So that's what you need to know about naming angles. All right, now we're going to talk about writing triangle congruent statements. Okay, so we've got these 2 triangles, and there's all these marks all over them. So what do these marks mean? So each of these sides matches up. So when I see these 3 little lines, that means these 2 sides match up to each other. So this side matches to this side. Now this little red side matches to this side. So this side matches to this side. And then last but not least, these sides match. So these triangles are the same triangle. They're congruent to each other. So here we have congruent triangles. If I want to write that in a formal geometric way, I need to write my statement, and I need to write that on a really specific way. So first I'm going to write, this is my symbol for triangle, just a little triangle, and I'll start with WUV. So triangle WV. Now I need to figure out, and then I'm going to write is congruent. Now here's the tricky part. I need to figure out what order I need to put these letters in so that they match up to each other. So let's look at the angles actually instead. Let's go through looking at it by the angles because those are also congruent. So I'm going to notice I started with W right here, and that matches up to E right here. So that has to go first in my congruent statement because these 2 angles matched, these 2 points matched up to each other. And then I can see U and D matched up to each other. So I put U next, so I'll put D, and then that leaves me last but not least with C. So triangle WUV is congruent to triangle EDC. You could change the order. The order doesn't matter as long as you change the order for both of the triangles so that the letters match up to each other correctly. So like I could have also said, if I wanted to, I could have also said triangle UWV is congruent to triangle DEC. Because then the U and E, the and W still match up, the D and U still match up, and the V and C still match up. But the important thing is to get the order right so that the pieces that correspond to each other still match up to each other. So let's try writing one more. This one's easier because they already lined up the triangles for us. So I can see that H matches to S, I matches to T, and J matches to U. So triangle HIJ is congruent. And this is the symbol for congruent, an equal sign with a squiggle on top. Let me make this handwriting better. HIJ is congruent to triangle STU. Again, there's more than one way to do it as long as the H and S line up, the I and T line up, and the J and U line up. So now they're giving us these 2 triangles that match up to each other. So H matches to F. This angle here matches to this angle here. And this angle here matches this angle here. And it's asking me, this is segment HI is congruent to which other segment? So let me look. HI is here. And it's congruent to this statement. But I also have to get the order right. So I can't say FE because I see that the I and the E is what matches up. So my answer is EF. So the way you would read this statement out loud, you would say segment HI is congruent to segment EF. So let's do a couple more. I'm just giving you the diagram and you have to figure out which is the matching segment. So segment AB, which segment matches? So here I have AB. This one's nicely lined up so I can see it matches to segment ED. Okay. Let's try another one. Why don't you guys take a minute and try this one? See if you can figure out the order of the letters. So this is talking about the whole triangle. So triangle ABC. So A, let me color code it better so we can talk about it. So with this one, I can see that A and D are both right angles. They both have that corner. So A and D match up to each other. And then let's see. Then I can see that B has these two little symbols and E has those two. So B and E match up. And that leaves me with C and F. So now let's look at my orders. So A, so that means I need to put D first. So triangle. So D goes to A, B goes to E, and F goes to C. So triangle DEF, triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. All right, let's look at this one. This one is actually pretty simple since they're just asking us this angle X right here, and they're showing us the symbols. I see the other angle that has those same symbols is angle P. So we're just noticing which parts correspond to each other and writing them out as a congruent statement. So I think this lesson is personally, I find it a little bit boring, but it's important to know all these terms and symbols to do harder geometry problems.